How's it going, guys? Steven here. Welcome back to my channel, Authentic Aspie. If you guys are new here, please subscribe, like the video, and share it to your friends, family, because this video is going to be awesome. I have a special guest here. His name is Colin. He's we've been friends for like 7 years, and friendship's been absolutely incredible. Like this person has is a good like indicator or person to see my trajectory from adolescent to adulthood. I'm gonna actually gonna give you a snapshot of like what it's like being autistic and being friends with someone that's not autistic but like supportive, because I know this is unorthodox. I know a lot of people interview like their family, but I just did different. So I think this is a lot better. So um his name is Colin, and he also has a dance business called Empower Melbourne Shuffle, also known as EMS. I I actually took a class with him. Amazing teacher. Like if you watch all my shuffle videos, this is the guy I learned it from. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, thank you for being part of this and part of this cause. Um,
Hey Steve, thanks for having me here, man. And yeah, my name is Colin, everybody. We've been friends for at least like 7+ years. Um, and yes, taught taught Steve how to dance. He showed me some things too, kind of back and forth as we like to like lab, they call it. And it's just been an incredible expression of growth through the dance. And to see him go through like the motions of learning to like deal with autism and being on the spectrum, but to being friends with like I guess what you would call like a neurotypical like myself, um and, kind of just learning a bit about each other, but also like meshing and showing Steve and him showing me that we could both function and be in the same, you know, world, working, together, dancing together, doing all the things together. There really isn't that big of a difference, really. And we're gonna go into that with a lot of these upcoming questions here. So, yeah, Steve, thanks for the introduction.
of course, like the value you gave is like incredible, and also just shows a lot of just a lot of growth and just a lot of good synergy out there. Like because it is
Good
possible to
word.
have cool friends,
Good
when
word.
you're
100%,
autistic.
man. 100%.
Um, so let's just go back to 2019, um, and talk about first impressions. When you
Mm.
first saw me raw, didn't know
Okay.
me at all. Yeah,
Okay.
in person.
Um, First impression, because we met on Instagram before we met in real life, um, I was like, man, he's tall. And I was also like, oh, cool. Like he's also a shuffle dancer, like myself.
Yeah.
And at the time, just to keep it brief, I was starting a dance shuffle crew. It's a real like popular thing in dance culture. You start like a crew or like a collective and or community, and I kind of did a little bit of both. But that's how I met Steve because I wanted him on my crew because I was open to having any diverse or much diversity as possible, different cultures, different ethnicities on the crew because like that's what dance is all about. So just connecting with different people, and Steve had that fire, he had that spark and that flair. So yeah, he ended up being on the crew shortly after that. I think in yeah, late 2018, 2019. So yeah,
Fun fact about me, guys, was I was literally the only one from California, and it's like an Arizona-based crew. But I was going so hard on
yeah,
being part of a crew, but you know, eventually became family. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We started a shuffle crew, and we had yeah, Steve was the only one from California. We had one girl from New Mexico, and I think that was it. So we had two out-of-staters, and then everyone else was in the state. But I really examined and looked at people who I thought deserved and would want to be on the crew, and it meant a lot because eventually he came to visit us, which that's what it's all about, creating those like bonds and connections with people. So um, I'm glad it worked out the way it did because we're still friends today. We're still dancing, and now we're doing this video. So
Exactly, and I'm telling you, the Arizona's cool. I gotta get a plane ticket to come visit again. I got to. I've been slacking on that for too long.
yeah, man.
Uh,
So
anyways, um, did anything about my communication style like stand out to you, or like anything different, like you thought was off, like from people that are not autistic, you know? Um,
um, I think from what I remember back then, you were just very soft-spoken. Um, very kind and gentle in the way you delivered your messages. Um, versus today, um, to like compare, I think you're definitely more outspoken or a little bit louder, which is good, you know, in that sense. But I mean, because when I met you, you were already graduated college, or you're um, what do you call it? Yeah, just your basic 4 years,
I am a bachelor.
and yeah, and you were a math whiz, so you're already pretty sharp in that sense. So I mean,
Mhm.
um, um, I guess the way you articulated things was um very like it was just like sharp from what I remember, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, when you're a maths guy, like one of the things that people don't realize is your brain literally changes into a logical mind. That
Mm,
doesn't go away, and it's a real thing. So, anyways,
it's
um,
true. Yeah.
let's fast forward to, um, so so he invited me to cross one time, and that was like late 2019. That was like, or was it 2020? But yeah, it was the first rave that we hung out together. That was a really cool rave, and that was we were all like in one Airbnb and stuff like that. So that was cool, and I got to we got to go together crossed. So like from being around people, like group of people, right? Um, what did you notice, like anything, like I didn't like pick up like certain unwritten rules, or like what were like some unwritten rules that were hard for me to like understand, or um, just in
Um,
for
from
work.
what I remember, um, like when we went to that festival, it was called Crossed. If anyone's wondering, it's CRSSD. We took the crew there, majority of the crew. I got to spend time together in a B&B, which is just like the best way to like community bond
Yeah.
and grow, close. closer. From what I remember Steve telling me is that sometimes he could get a little overstimulated at the festival. So I was like, okay, I'll make sure to kind of keep an eye on you just in case. But I think when you're put in the right atmosphere and with the right people, it's like the perfect recipe and ingredients to like for that person to like grow and be just like truly like I guess like one with themselves. And we were in like a shuffle circle or two over at a place called City Steps. And I remember Steve got into the circle once or twice, and it was just like the best, the coolest experience. And we documented the whole thing. We have footage of all of us dancing. And I don't ever remember him, at least maybe you could tell me, Steve. I don't think you ever got like too overstimulated because like you love techno. And I know techno for like a logical brain, mathematic brain like yourself, and
Yeah.
whether, autistic or not, I think like techno just does something to you where it just keeps you like centered. Um, but it seemed like you had a great time, and I don't think you had any like difficulty or anything at the festival. Can you recall? Just to kind of bounce that back at you.
I think, well, eventually, what I learned about myself, like over the years, is that I'm more of, I actually like stimulus. I'm actually the opposite. I think when I said like I get overstimulated, I think what I meant was sometimes I can be socially exhausted. Like that's
Okay.
probably what it is.
In the early days of our friendship, I would say um, uh, being okay and accepting like who you are. That was definitely a big thing for you. And trying to like cope in a world where, to be quote a neurotypical, I guess like myself is considered the standard or normal, but it's like, what is normal? Who's to say what normal is? It's just that, we live in a society of, you know, people that are mostly neurotypical, I guess you could say. There's a percentage of people that are this, and this, but
Right.
you've already transgressed light years ahead of that years ago of that mindset. I can see, you're doing like more schooling. You're going into your master's now. You've
Right.
created a YouTube channel. Like you've come to terms, I guess we could say, of accepting that, yeah, you're on the spectrum. And honestly, I think we're all a little bit on the spectrum. Um, and that sure you have autism, but I don't when I have normal conversations with you, I don't really even see that anymore. But I think it's because, and I think we go into more questions here. I don't want to like give away everything before you ask me,
Right.
but you, it's just from being around people like myself, or and me being around you too, because I've learned a lot from you too, and being around dancers, shuffle community, rave community, going to these festivals and stuff, I think is a big contribution, a big contributor that helped you grow and shape who you are now. Um, I would say, you did pretty well for the most part. Um, yeah, with everything that I just said, basically. So, yeah,
Yeah. I think yeah, it was just the social reps. I mean, I went to, I actually went out to Stanford like to go to this like um, techno party like in a bar and stuff. And I
yeah,
gotta say, um, I like for the first time, I just did not think I was autistic. Like, I didn't. The label didn't like put me down per se. Like
right, right.
in fact, it did the opposite. It actually was an advantage for me because of all the social reps and all like that experience that I gained, I learned from that and then I took it further. And that was because of that, I'm like more comfortable with myself. I'm not the label doesn't like put
100%,
me down anymore. And that I think that
100%.
was like the last piece for me. But yeah, being with like but being friends with you, that was like the beginning of that journey of like accepting myself. That was a huge part, man. Like because I didn't know
Yeah.
myself was just so hard for me. So
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Quick,
But,
quick question.
yeah.
When you say social reps, what do you mean by that?
Like, I just kept putting myself out there. I kept talking with people. I
Okay.
done many different,
Like like repetitions in that
yeah,
sense?
just competitions and like being
Yeah.
out more, like being
I like that.
outside more, regardless of
Yeah.
if it was good, regardless if it was in the past, if it was a good social interaction or not. I was, um, I kept going.
Yeah. That's a good analogy for that. It's like, yeah, like with the gym and lifting, with shuffling, like you have to put in the reps and you have to put in the reps to go out and be social and vocal with people in order to be a better like speaker, talker, thinker, anything. So that's really, yeah, the more you engage, the better you're gonna get, right? It's not gonna be the opposite, So I like that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a neurodevelopmental disorder, so it just means that you're gonna have a delay in social skills. You're gonna have a delay in in learning how relationships work in humans and things like that.
Ooh,
But it's
yeah,
only a
yeah.
delay. Like once you learn it, it's and you're in the right environment, it's no longer a deficit. So that
There we
that's
go. Yeah.
I think we all I think we I think we all display some autistic traits. Now the separation is that there are like legitimate like you are diagnosed with autism and I'm not like
Sure.
invalid
Sure.
those people, but for sure like it's just the way that we have. But if you have the right support, I'm telling you, and you're in the right environment, it's no longer a deficit. And I that is a law. Okay. So
That's the law. That's yeah, 100%. You know, I just want to add one more little thing too. Yeah, to my knowledge, yeah, you're the only child, right? Well, besides you were the youngest, I mean, right?
yeah, the youngest, yeah.
They're the youngest. So
It,
it's at least you had your sister to kind of because I had an older brother and an older sister, and I got to learn from them like their quote, life lessons and mistakes and stuff like that. So I feel like it's nice to have, older siblings to kind of, learn from. So I'm not sure how much you were able to learn from, your older sibling, your sister, but I feel like was that a factor also?
she,
Or
I would say, I need to interview her too. Like, it's that video will come out, but I feel like she helped me in my earlier years back in high school. Like, she was kind of like a safety. Like, she always she gave me like
gotcha,
situational awareness, like social awareness, sort of deals.
gotcha.
But like, um, and then you were kind of like that second person. Well, maybe the third
Ah,
because I had friends before like after college that helped me out like
sure,
so
sure.
but
Yeah,
but yeah definitely like I said when you have friends that are like that it's just powerful and then like I said it's like
yeah,
almost like autism is no longer a deficit, it can be an advantage.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really. It's almost like it doesn't exist because I mean, we accept you for who you are, you know, which anyone should, no matter what you have. But yeah, anyways,
Anyways, let's see. Um, um, like so I know you said you learned a lot about you learned a lot from me, but like what's like one thing I guess you like appreciate or like or like you learned
Hang on.
about
Okay.
life or
I'll, I'll talk to you later. Oh, bye-bye. Sorry about
it's all good.
that. What can you ask that again, or was it under section
Um,
3 or 4?
it was under section three. What what do you appreciate most about our friendship? And you can expand on it, like what you learned about autism through me, or some, or like something you learned about, I guess, like you
Gotcha.
got
Gotcha.
from that friendship. Like,
Um, so yeah, Steve asked the question, what do you appreciate most about our friendship? And I would say I appreciated the fact that we can laugh and like chat about almost anything, just like any other pair of friends would. Um, we get along great. We both love to dance. We both love techno. We both love, dance and music. Um, he's very chill and relaxed, like myself. Um, we're both tall, and and probably the number one thing is like I like to. I'm kind of like naturally like the life of the party because I can just get people moving and on the dance floor. And Steve, it can also be like that too. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, that something that I appreciate, as well, because you don't always have a lot of people that can do that can kind of command to get the party started, get people moving and on the dance floor. And I've watched a lot of Steve's stories on his Instagram, and he'll be on the dance floor, in like a nightclub somewhere, or like and people will often come up to him and just start dancing. So yeah,
oh, yeah, like when you see Colin and I, and we're like in a club, because like I think when I first visit there, we'll go bar hopping and like go like
yeah,
shuffle everywhere. Those were the most fun time. That's like my favorite thing to do. That was like one of my favorite things to do
uh-huh,
with you. And we just,
yeah.
when you see each other, we just command the room. It's like every time. You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just
Yeah.
too easy. We're just doing our thing.
Yeah, two kings, man.
Two
Um,
kings.
and people just come up to us. It's just that simple.
Yeah. So it's a really good
um,
synergy. Yeah.
yeah. Um, challenges and differences. Go next section. Um, how do you notice? How did you notice I handle group settings or large social environments? Like, so if we're like all in a group, right? Um, how would you see me like handle things, like in general, like socially? Because I know we went to like shuffle meetups and like in general, from your perspective, like how would you see me like interact? Like,
Um, I think one time I jotted down some notes here. One time that I remember particularly is when we were going out like bar hopping in downtown Phoenix when you visited. I think it was me, you, and another buddy, Micah, I believe.
yeah,
I'm trying to remember. You, out of all three of us, went up and just started talking to like these couple of really pretty girls. And me and Micah were off to the side. We were just ordering a few drinks or something. And you just like, we were impressed by the confidence that you had. Um, and in just handling that kind of like group setting, because I think there was one or two of them. And like I got confidence too, but like, it can be tough to approach a woman, or people sometimes. And you just did it with ease. So I was very surprised at that. And you definitely had gained a couple of points in my book that day because I was like, this guy, he's got the confidence, he's not afraid to be, whether it's a no or a yes or whatever. You were just conversing. Um, so I think you handled yourself well there in that situation or in that bar that day. But yeah, yeah, pretty regular, pretty, maybe a little bit above average in that sense for that scenario. Yeah,
This is what I'm telling you guys. Autism is literally an advantage. I'm telling you. Like, I'm going to
yeah,
tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because being feeling rejected like all the time from society and like, how you should be, that rejection resilience just goes so it just is amazing. Like because of
yeah,
that, it's like you don't even care,
yeah,
because you're different, and because you're different, you're like I don't care. So that's why it can be an advantage. I'm telling you, like
yeah,
people look at autism as a deficit like so hard, but
yeah,
there's times what's not a deficit and even an advantage. So
yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
It's just the educational conditioning and what we've been told over the years, and that's slowly being unwoven and undone throughout the years moving forward now, and through people like yourself doing, the hard research, these interviews like this, people are going to see this and they're going to be like, yeah, they're right. Yeah, autism is actually, it's a little bit of a superpower, a little bit of an advantage in some cases, I think. So that's something to think about. It's pretty cool.
Exactly, and that one example about the bar, like we just don't sense any social problems sometimes. Like now that could be a good and a bad thing, but you can train yourself to where it is an advantage because then
Yeah.
because you could literally go off script. You can go on script and or like you can have like some idea of like how social interaction works. Like you can learn psychology, you can learn from other people.
Mm,
And if you know the pattern, you could be like just doing that same thing and you can have a pretty
right.
good idea. It could be an advantage. It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
what I like
It's like, what do you remember in that instance what you were thinking? Like when you went up and were talking to those like one or two girls at the table right next to us, or like did you have you didn't really have any fear, or did you? Or do you remember that?
um I did. I mean, I do have fear in general, yeah. Like
Yeah.
pretty hard fear. I think most of my fears are just like the way I interact with I guess the way I interact with women. I think what pushes me away is just the disgust face or like the tone of
Mm,
people. I'm really sensitive to that.
mm, sure, sure. I think
Like when the changes, I'll get like upset. Like sometimes maybe if your tone changes, like I will literally think,
yeah,
oh, he's upset, like pretty fast, and I'll get
yeah.
timid.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because like a lot of people who like learn English and like the tonality they call it, or the tone of people's voice, it's like really hard to understand. So like I think growing up, me being just kind of a jester, class clown comedian, interacting with different friend groups. Like I have so many different friend groups, the dance community, my childhood friends, you know, I'm on different forums, different pages, and I'm like interacting with different people and sending voice messages all the time and stuff like that too. But I think like playing with tonality and like understanding or listening to people, it's just more repetitions. The more you interact with like a woman, or people, and you can you hear their tone and their voice, and you get to a point where you just automatically know what to expect. Um, and that's just it's just a learned thing after a while, if that makes sense. But it's just gotta get those repetitions in, and if you don't use it, if you don't do that, you never really understand it, or you never, because there are, even myself, sometimes I'll go out to like a party or a rave, and even I can be a little gullible myself sometimes, or I won't catch someone's sarcasm, or I won't catch the irony, or the euphemism that they're making, or and I'll be like, oh, ha, 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 I kind of laugh it off, and then I catch up myself, and I'm like, oh, I see what you did there, or sometimes I'll be late, on the punchline, etc. So some people are just, I think, a little more sharp with it, and quick delivery, and some people, take a minute to like process, a second to process and kind of catch up, and um, but there's ways around that. There's ways to be like, oh, you meant this, ha 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 ha, or you meant, oh, I see what you were doing there, you kind of banter back and forth, and you go back and forth with them. There's ways to make it seem like you were understanding what they were talking about, instead of being totally like went over your head, or and that's things that I've picked up in growing up, with like social cues and unwritten like little gestures, and little things like that, so yeah, it takes kind of a lot of practice, but it's just daily life, going to school, talking to people in between lunch, at recess, your friends, chatting, period, will help. So yeah.
Really, definitely, and it's just, um, yeah, it's powerful. Like when a person on the spectrum, they're not put in a box, and they actually have this controlled environment where they can do that. They can get over a lot of things, and I'm living proof of it. It's like you could literally do this. I feel like there's just too much propaganda, just putting
Uh-huh.
people on the spectrum
Right.
down, saying, oh, they can't be independent, oh, they can't get jobs, oh, they can't get a friend. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just a bunch
Yeah,
of
that's
it's all
yeah, that's a
cap.
thing of the yeah, it's a thing of the past for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally all cap.
Yeah.
So, um, so we talked a lot about me and your observations about um, me being in different social environments, going meetups, going raves, and all that. So within the friendship, like, were there like any misunderstandings between us, and how did we resolve them? Like, or like, what are some things that I had to learn to like be a better friend to you, like per se, like,
Sure.
um,
Uh,
yeah.
I think the only things that I can really remember is like in the past there'd be like a small, like very small, like misunderstandings between us, but nothing major. Like I would talk about how something is done this way and that, and then you would ask like a further in depth, just to understand the message. But I think that's like also normal in my opinion. Um, Especially like since maybe you weren't or hadn't been exposed to some certain things yet, at that point in your life. But other than that, I mean, I can't really recall anything major,
I think,
So,
my
what about you?
opinion, I think um, it was just hard for me to like see nuance in social and like dating and stuff like that, because
Yeah, okay.
it was just hard for me to gain that gray area perspective. Like when you said like certain things, like, yeah, you should protect your energy, and like,
Hmm.
or like just some important things like to look out for to protect myself, right?
Yeah.
Um, it was just hard for me to see that because I'm like so black and white, you know, like that's a real
Hmm.
thing. Like when you're autistic, you're sometimes it's hard for you to actually listen to understand another person's perspective on the world and everything because you don't understand how it works yet, but you're like
Yeah.
it can be emotional sometimes. It
Yeah.
can be emotional. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, you want to be confident in yourself. So
Yeah.
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 Um
I agree.
yeah. I think one of the books you had me read was what was that? Corey Wayne. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you had me read
Um,
Corey
he's
Wayne. Yeah.
yeah. It's a date, kind of like a dating guru. Guy's got a
Yeah.
podcast. You could check it out if you want. Guys and girls really could listen to it because I think it benefits both sexes. Um, and basically, he's I know there's a lot of love gurus out there and stuff like that, or relationship coaches, I should say. But this guy really did help me in just understanding women and like how to approach them, what to say, what to do, not being too like clingy and stuff like that, and everything that goes with relationships and stuff like that. And I know Steve definitely benefited from it too. And the guy even says like you're gonna need to go back and re-listen to this book and this podcast, 10 to 12 times because there's a lot of information in there and you do start to get it eventually. Because again, it's like I'm gonna probably keep saying this, Steve, thanks to you, but it's like the social reps. If you're not practicing like dating and talking to women, or vice versa, how are you ever going to get better at it? You go to the gym, I go to the gym. I've been going to the gym for like over 20 years now, on and off, I've been dancing for, almost a decade coming up, you know, but how often am I like talking to women, relationships, stuff like that? Like, not so much because I'm more focused on my dance, but and that comes in time. Everyone will find somebody in time if you put the effort into it, but it just helps to know the there's like a formula, to that. Um, so yeah, that book was really good. Honestly, it helped a lot um, for
Yeah,
dating.
the one thing I would say I got from your relationship or friendship was like consistency. Like consistency, persistence, man, like that was the
Yeah,
one thing I was like the key words that I got from you that pushed me on for a lot of challenges in my life. And I'm like, you
yeah,
even said when I did my first shuffle battle online, like you said, like you don't get better, just go train. Like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, just a lot of discipline and stuff like that, and push me along.
yeah,
Uh, but also, talking with you was helped me go towards understanding the gray area. So it wasn't like I couldn't get the gray area at all about life and social skills and all that. Like, but I know I can come to you asking questions about certain things, and then the next day I'll understand. Like, okay, now, okay, this gray area I gotta think about. Like,
sure,
you know,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what we're all here for too, and as friends, and like when I can't. If I don't get the answer from like say, my parents, then like I go to my close childhood friends who I know I can, confide in them, or you too, whenever we talk. And it's just nice to be able to let the guard down and ask the question straight up or raw, like, hey, what do you think? It's just being able to have people to talk to about these kinds of things, period, is so important, because like I can't imagine, some people out there could be truly like alone, you know, and it doesn't have to be that way, of course, you know. So yeah, again, I'm just another reason why I'm glad, dance is like the key, music, because it brings people together and it helps heal, So yeah,
It really does. Like, if I mean, if you don't believe us, like, I mean, just look at us. Like, we're living proofs of that. Like, that's why I'm saying I would even argue that dancing will help understand your emotions. Like, it's gonna help you like understand how you feel like in your own body, and that awareness will just take you so far, and it will help you with the sensory regulation as well. Like, just you can understand where your energy is,
yeah,
and you can
100%.
communicate what you feel. You know, that's what's so powerful about dancing. So
Yeah.
um, that's that's the power of dance. Um, yeah. So um, so we covered a lot, I would say,
Yeah.
and kind of kind of answered all the questions, like overlapped with a bunch of answers, like with some answers, like long answers. But
Yeah.
I, uh, but this comes to show you guys that you can still be friends with people that are neurotypical if you're autistic. It's not impossible. Um, and at the same time, people say, "Oh, just be friends with other autistic people." Like, you can be friends with people that have the similar social like difficulties, and you can relate to those. And like you said, like um, me and you have struggled with like thinking what people are saying, like the intent behind it, or like from their tone or something like that, or you
Uh-huh.
know, like you can relate to those things, and like it could be a powerful friendship. I mean, we've been friends for some years, so it just shows like you can do this. Like, it's not
Yeah.
so forget about the stereotype
Yeah.
about how autistic people are like. So this is living proof right here. I don't know what any other proof I could give, really. So yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. It's like you said earlier too, just like the staying consistent, never giving up, and just, it kind of reminds me of my mother and, other friends, people that I know who've had like surgeries in the past. Like my mom had a shoulder surgery recently, and guess what? She had to relearn how to use her arm all over again, And it's like you have to use your other arm to eat. And unfortunately, it was her right arm, so she had to use her left arm to start eating and like learning how to like sign her signature and stuff like that. So I feel like I wanted to bring that up because it's like you yourself are learning everything you can, about, you know, autism and, the spectrum and stuff like that. And, she had to learn everything about reusing her, learning to use her right arm again, and um, it's like you feel alone, you feel isolated because there's you're the only one with a cast, when you go out in public, etc. And like it seems like you're alone in that, but you're not. It's just like, thanks to things like YouTube and you can go and look up videos and see people talk about how they dealt with, their rotator cuff, during the surgery and stuff like that. And, we're never truly alone. You just have to, you know, keep chugging along and, ask for help, use the internet to your advantage, look for help guides and forums and videos, in that regard. Um, but yeah, it's just never giving up, and because look how far you've come now, Steve. You know, um, and look
The
look look
switch,
at where you'll be.
the switch for me was knowing that because I put in that effort,
Yeah,
like learning about social skills and everything like that, it's not
social skills.
as much of a deficit, you know. Um,
Yeah,
it's in some areas it became an advantage, and I think I think you were like one of the only people that told me like good job, like you did all that, and obviously there's other people, but
right.
like for peers, that gave me a lot of confidence, a lot of hope in myself,
Yeah,
and you're right. That journey, that journey from adolescent to adulthood, this is so true. Accepting of myself, not letting the label define me,
yeah.
and that's like no one talks about that in the autism community because all they talk about is how can I get a job, how can I get a relationship, how can I have good friends, you know what I'm saying? But they never talk
Right.
about like the self discovery, the accepting of the self. And I'm
Isn't
starting to
that
realize,
interesting?
yeah,
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, this is why we're doing this video, everybody, like to get this out there and like yeah, you got to like discover yourself and kind of do the homework and the research. And yeah, you got to like learn and work to improve your social skills, social cues. Got to get out there and interact with people, no matter, how scary you may think it is, people are not as bad as we think, or as we may hear on the or see on the internet. Like you could go and get involved like in a community like Steve did, and where he's from, in Cali, um, and come to find out that it's like, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, especially maybe maybe he got lucky too, with the dance, EDM, and rave community because there's something called plur where it's peace, love, unity, and respect. And it's just such an open, like loving, like community. That's what raving has always been about. Is it's been about the music and because the music heals. And Steve said it earlier. It's kind of allowed him to like express and find himself and through those emotions that we feel while dancing to the music. And there's a whole process to recording yourself, watching the footage back, to sharing it on social media and getting reactions from people and your friends and your close peers. And it just builds like it builds a confidence around you, and it builds a character. um, and whether you're on the spectrum or have autism or not, because me and Steve were both going through the same things in that sense. Like dance is for everybody, and I think it can heal and cure so many things, which clearly look at Steve, where he was and where he's at now. It's it's like it slows down your heart rate in a sense, kind of like there's that scene from Spider-Man where he gets in the car, and he puts his headset on and the music turns on
hmm
and everything, all that New York traffic and everything around him just like stops, and it's like bliss, and like it's like music keeps you like focused, like dialed in, like locked in. I feel like big time, like techno, especially one of your favorite genres, definitely did that for you. And yeah, man, I could talk about this all day. It's just we've both
I,
seen the benefits.
I love, by the way, techno. Techno is the one genre that I listen to at my lowest points, and it like pushed me along. Techno is
Yeah,
my therapy, bro, hands down. Like just rocking out to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's that's the one genre that got me through a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's I think the one of the main reasons too, because it's just such a it's a hard dance, the shuffle, Melbourne shuffle that we do, or Cali shuffle as well, like where Steve's from, another style from his area. It's just it being a hard dance is very like can be hard stomping, very hard hitting, and it gets a lot of that anger, and emotion, stress, sadness out when you dance, when you shuffle. And I think that's why it's so addicting and why we keep coming back to it because it's so like resonating and grounding and just a way to really get those feelings out, whatever you're dealing with currently, you know.
right.
So there's a lot to be said with that. Yeah.
It helps with emotional regulation. So
Yeah,
um,
big time.
if you guys don't book a class with Colin here, I don't know what you guys doing. I'm sorry. So we'll book
Yeah,
a class.
even if
Learn
you,
this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I always tell people go learn to shuffle. I have a whole YouTube that you can learn for free, and then if you really have trouble, then you can hit me up for a lesson. But all the information, the lessons, if you think you have two left feet, I explain music theory, rhythm, everything. So if you think that you don't have rhythm, I can teach you how to find that rhythm. And um, yeah, that's my
And trust
passion.
me, guys, I was on beat in the beginning, and then here this guy comes along, he teaches me, and I'm like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think I get perfect until like, to be honest with you, like year five, I would say. Year five, like making it perfect, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all part of it too. Like I had my mentors as well that would tell me like, "Hey, like look up when you spin because you're gonna fall and you're losing your balance." And I'd be like, "Oh." So then I would look up while I spun two, three times in a row. And what did you know? Like it's just these little tweaks and adjustments that we do to our dancing and, maybe even our daily lives or how we speak to people or how we act and interact that can just make a
It's
big change.
yeah, exactly.
And it's just learning. We're just learning from each other. And some people might not have been fortunate enough, which is why I mentioned, your older sibling earlier, and my two older siblings, because I got to learn from a lot of their mistakes or their lessons, or just don't even call it a mistake, just learn from them, period. Um, I can't imagine what it's like for like an only child to like grow up and not really have any role models or any brother and sister. Unless it's their mom and dad, of course. But it's really we're just gotta go through these motions. It's like it's a lesson. Every day there's a new lesson. We're learning something new on the job, for example. Like I'm training right now to be a construction plumber, um, because I wanted to get into a trade, and I'm learning something new every day, every week, and I want to know it all, but it's just not possible. It takes 6 months plus to get trained,
Right.
and I've
Yeah.
you know
And that's the punchline too. Like being autistic, like yeah, it's like being in this world. You don't know all the social skills, but if you continue to learn, if you continue to have compassion with yourself, then you're gonna see that growth. Then you're gonna see like, hey, I don't have to know everything. Like I can go into something that gives me the
Yep.
most energy, and that's the most like that's what autism is like. You put in this world, you don't have social skills, and you learn them up to like 18 or whatnot. Like I don't know when you guys are, and then that adolescent to adulthood is literally the journey of accepting yourself and having compassion and going into your inner world and being like, I'm gonna heal from this. That's basically what it
Mhm.
is. It's like because society has like hit you so hard on saying you're not part of society, so you're you're not fit for it because you're not like us. but you should use that. But you should use that as fuel to start healing, and to start like doing the inner
Yeah.
work, and that's what this YouTube has allowed me to do. To look back and to be like, okay, where are the things that helped me? Where are the things that didn't? That's the real work right there. Like, because it's not really a because like I said, autism is not really a deficit. It's only a deficit or a disorder just because of the symptoms of because the symptoms happen and like the way we interact with the world doesn't match what the neurotypical expects. So that's the only thing about it. But if you're in an environment where you don't have to worry about that, it's no longer a deficit. So
Right.
um,
Right. And I think, like you said earlier, it's just it's that objective stigma slash stereotype
right,
of the kind of the old way, because back in the day, it used to be like one in how many of your people would have, autism. Now today, for whatever reason, it's much more prevalent, it seems. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but from what I've seen, and it's we're starting to learn more and more about it. But labeling people that and then putting them in like an institution or a specialized class or whatever, it kind of alienates people that might have autism or whatever they have or diagnosed with, right? So that it kind of like warps your brain a little bit or warps your perception, and then other people that are in those institutions or regular classes or whatever in school are also, they're getting a different and seeing a different perception of you or them, when really it's just some people need a little bit more extra help, or they just need a little bit extra time to think or whatever. I mean, I had some special ed classes growing up because I wasn't really great at like reading, um and writing and stuff like that growing up, and um but I remember thinking back like, oh, did like what was wrong with me, and I was just I think I definitely have like ADHD, and like I was always like distracted in class, but I was also like, just I like to be funny and laugh a lot and make people laugh in class. And um I don't know, that was, but going to those special ed classes, did I think there was anything wrong with me personally? um I don't know. I don't think so. I was just like, oh, I just needed more help, I needed more. Yeah, I knew I wasn't that good at like I could comprehend and acknowledge that fact that I wasn't that good at reading and spelling for sure. Um and maybe was that because I didn't practice that when I went home, or I didn't read the books that I should have read when I went home. Eh,
right.
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I wasn't practicing spelling or times tables and multiplication and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe it was a little bit of that too, So I ended up paying for it a little bit later on by going to some of these special ed classes because I wasn't keeping up and doing well with the others in class, you know. And teachers, if they're good at spotting these types of things, then they will catch on to that, and they'll either try and help you, right, or they'll advise to the parents and the student that maybe it might be beneficial to go take a kind of special ed class, right, whether during school or after school, etc. But just the perception with that, it can
Right.
make you think like, oh, I'm not welcome, but like really you are welcome to be with. It's just you just have to like put in maybe a little bit more work, or I mean, it depends. There's different
Especially
situations.
like with autism, it's like it's a neurodevelopmental disorder, like I said, and it's 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 because there's a delay in things. It's just a delay. It's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you may
Right.
just perceive the world in a different way. So, anyways, thank you so much for being on here and
Yeah.
spending time with me. Um, the last thing I would say, a fun fact about us is that we both love puns. I can't even say a pun with anybody, but instead,
Yeah.
like as long as with this guy, I'm good. But my mom just does not like saying puns in the house. So yeah, I had to be around him, message him, be like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
sometimes we'll do like double and like triple meaning like puns because we've just been doing it for a while. So I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, it is fun to do that around people that appreciate humor and comedy, and Steve loves to laugh. I love to laugh. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
we should just start like you and I just a whole series on puns, man. Like
Yeah.
we we're not like and to just be frank, like we're not just the average pun people. Like if we see a sign, we'll make a pun out of it. We don't care how
Yeah.
we just be as mad creative as possible. I mean
Uh-huh.
flow like why wouldn't we? So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I think
If you
I
guys
think that's
want to
another
see
thing
that,
too.
throw in the comments and say pun, okay? Like put in the comments
Yeah,
say
yeah,
pun. You guys
yeah.
want
If
to
you
see
guys
that?
have any
Yeah.
any cool puns, drop them below.
Mhm.
We'll expand on it. But yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Colin, once again. Um, and have safe travels and think about this. Think about what we're saying. I just really feel like it's gonna change people's perspective about autism, and if you have autism, it's gonna give you hope, like that you're not this label and that you're just a person with autism but not autistic. So thank you all for watching and see you guys in the next video.